I have a feeling that we're gonna have what happened with me and my dick happen with Holy Musical Batman.
No, Rancid will talk. I'm sure.
Are you okay, buddy?
Do you want to hear my impression of the two types of songs in Holy Musical Batman?
You actually sound like you're dead.
You sound exhausted. Oh my god.
Did you just wake up?
One is the ballad. It goes like this. Da, 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 da. The other is the vast majority of the songs. It's Nick Gage turning on his Casio and throwing it down the fucking stairs.
Welcome everybody to StarKid Spotlight, our fun podcast about fun musicals.
Yes, fun musicals.
We have a very, very special one for you today. It is a parody, a loving parody, a loving homage to the Batman franchise called Holy Musical Batman.
With an at. With an at.
With an ad in the middle, I guess to so they don't get sued by Warner Brothers / DC Comics.
I'm Random Bystander here.
I'm the best.
I'm not Rancid.
But guess who's here with us?
Oh god.
I'm so sorry, Rancid. I'm so sorry.
Primer, because if you're listening to this, you probably have no idea what we're like, what's happening right now. But we were scheduled to start this at 7:00.
Yes.
And we were waiting for Rancid to go online, and I was thinking, and like we were talking about it, and this whole time I was thinking, oh, he probably he took a nap, and he's gonna, and then he overslept, which I've done.
And I kept saying, oh god, Holy Musical Batman got him, and
and then like at 8:01
p.m.
yes, for the SpongeBob reference. CountRancid appeared in our call, sounding the status he's ever sounded, and this is the guest. This is our very first podcast guest. We've had him for Cars 2, Cars 3, Incredibles 2, fucking Sonic 1999. And Me and My Dick. We almost had him for Hot Fuzz, but unfortunately we didn't make it this one. We brought him in for Holy Musical Batman, and I'm still waiting for him to say something.
Can I put it into perspective for the folks at home?
Yes, please.
By all means.
Please.
I actually said at one point, several hours before, if I could bail. I actually just said, because it's always been an issue of scheduling conflict. And this time I just wanted to bail. I said outright, this time I said outright, can I bail? Not because not because I didn't want to talk about it even. I wanted to bail suddenly because I was about halfway through watching it, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
Wow. Cars 2 did not break you, but this did.
Karma Stay broke Rancid, but this is a different level. Like, Karma Stay turned Rancid into the Joker.
No, topical reference.
Topical reference. And this turns you into I don't know, the dead Joker.
I mean, he is dead in the
He
musical.
is dead in the canon of this. Okay, good lord. Let's do our usual thing of background.
I have none.
I have none. I never knew this existed until this podcast series began.
I assume Rancid, you didn't have an experience with this, but you do have experience with Batman.
I do. I certainly don't want to pretend that I'm not a person who doesn't enjoy having fun, especially not with Batman. My two favorite Batman films are, in fact, the 1966 one and the Lego Batman movie,
Yeah.
which is...
Oh, I've never seen Lego Batman.
Lego Batman is incredible.
It's like if this musical crawled out of the ocean and grew legs. But...
Instead, it got eaten by a seagull.
Essentially. But... it's certainly like it's certainly like I don't appreciate a lighthearted take. It's that the vast majority of jokes in this just the jokes and the songs just I knew like the basic plot of it, and I thought, well, yeah. I'd heard of it before. I'd seen some of the costumes. I thought, well, it is so much different conceptualizing it in the abstract, and then just watching it and seeing every single one of those jokes be laid out like a big Cleveland steamer on you.
Oh,
This is
well.
gonna be fun.
I'm
gonna say.
Wait, I have to do my.
Oh, you do have history on this.
I do have history, and I want to talk about it.
Okay.
This was right after Starship, which I and we all, well, CirbyFan and Watch and I all approve of. And honestly, Rancid, after this, you should probably give Starship a shot because
I know. I think one of the thoughts I had was like, oh, I had the chance to start her ship. I had the chance to do Untwisted. I should have done Untwisted.
It's lost to media now, but I remember for the anime podcast when we did the Sonic episode and I bought up Tokyo Godfathers, your response was, damn it, I could have done Tokyo Godfathers.
I remember how pissed you were. It's like, I missed Tokyo Godfather for this.
I think my exact reaction was I picked the dud.
But anyway, they hyped up Holy Musical Batman. I was one of those. I was really hyped up for this because I liked Batman when it came out. I thought it was cool, and they did such a good job with Starship. I'm like, and this came out right during the hype of Batman too. So, or at least probably when he was at his prime, or maybe a couple of years after that. So
it's 2012, right?
Yeah, 2012. It was like a couple months before Dark Knight Rises, so
Yes.
it was prime Batman fever by that point.
Prime Dark Knight Batman fever.
Batman theme.
As is to say, the Batman who talks like this.
Yes, we'll get to that. I saw this musical for the first time. I was looking forward to it. I was one of those people who waited until it launched. I think at midnight, I think it did. And I was like, I'm really hyped. Starship was so good. I can't wait for this. And I didn't like it.
Were you a person who did not appreciate a little bit of fun in their Batman?
No.
Why do you not like fun, Random?
I couldn't there was just something about it that I just didn't like compared to all the other musicals. And I couldn't figure out why. It's just like something about it. Like, it's not, I don't think I hated it like Rancid did, but like, or does. But I just didn't like it. Something about him, you just go, this is not as good as the other musicals. And I rewatched it again a couple times, but I didn't really remember much about it. And then I rewatched it right after we recorded Starship. I was on a huge high from talking about like one of my favorite musicals of StarKid. And I was like, I'm going to get Holy Musical Batman done right away because I'm so excited for it. I'm sure it's going to be good. Then the opening played and I was hyped for it, and then it kept going.
Oh, did it?
And it finished.
Did you experience the exact letdown I have, where it's like the first minute of Holy Musical Batman, like the opening number, was actually really good.
We'll get to that.
Did you? You got suckered in by that, didn't you?
We'll get to that. All right, that's all I'm saying about my experience for now.
All right. Well, God, where would we like to start?
Who wants to do the very short plot synopsis?
Oh, it's gonna be a very short plot synopsis. I think I've done the last couple.
Normally I'd ask our guest, but I think he needs a break.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Are you sure?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
Okay.
So, Batman, a man-child who loves juice boxes and the zoo, is a rising crime fighter in Gotham, like about 20 years after his parents are killed. It might be the late 90s. It might be the
early 20s.
Early 2010s. We can't tell. The point is there's Twitter and Obama as president.
And Facebook.
Oh yeah.
But
Facebook is technically essential to the plot.
So is Twitter.
But he's a rising star and crime fighter. Everyone loves him. Paradoxically, he's less impressive, but more beloved than Superman. I guess in the same way that a city reveres its possibly uneatable type of regional pizza. He's not as effective, but hometown pride is what accounts for a lot of his mystique.
That's really good.
But
That's really good.
Eventually, his arch enemy, which is mentioned in like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue, and falls off the Greater Gotham Bridge. Everyone assumes he's not going to make it, which is obviously teasing you that, oh, in fact, he will. But then they dredge the Joker's body out of the harbor. He's dead, and Batman is suddenly left a little rudderless when it comes to fighting crime. I don't know why. None of it really seemed to hinge on anything apart from having the Joker as an arch enemy. It's like I said, it's a very primordial form of stuff that would later be developed and fleshed out in the Lego Batman movie. Anyway, he gets an ad for an orphan rent boy in the classifieds, and this turns out to be Dick Grayson. Instantly, the two of them bond. They're kindred spirits. They want to deal brutal revenge towards a bunch of mentally ill people who love puns. And they are cleaning up the town, kicking ass. Unfortunately, Batman is so beloved that he's become kind of a slave to PR. And nobody likes Robin. What to do? His fans? His city? Or his newfound happiness? And then Candy Joker fucks in, and everything gets a little more complicated.
Oh,
That was like 2.5 minutes for that. Thank you.
thank you. Hey, how come when I take 2.5 minutes you don't applaud me? No, I'm kidding.
So when the Joker's body, when they found it and they said he was dead, I was expecting Who Shot Mr. Burns, where it was like, he was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. They then took him to a better hospital where they stabilized his condition. But then it was just like, no, the Joker's dead. I was like, oh, Simpsons is funnier.
The thing is, even when I first watched the show, like I was like, they killed off the Joker? Really? Like,
I mean, like that was the thing about the very first appearance of the Joker, is that apparently they sensed how potentially popular the character was going to be, and Whitney Ellsworth had Kane and Finger add an alternate panel to the story, where it's just like 2 EMTs checking out the Joker who fucking stabbed himself in the chest.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot.
And they say, like, this man is going to live. And you're like, yeah, he could. Hippocratic oath and all, but you could also push a pillow on his face.
oh my god. So, I think we should start with what Rancid and I were talking about before, which is what sucked us into this musical and made us have hope, which was the opening song.
The opening of the opening song.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
one shot. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I honestly, like, when it was getting that, it's like, okay, this is getting there. And then the rest of the song happened, and I was like, why did this sound like bad Neil Cicerega? Which is to say, why did this sound like an even worse Oingo Boingo? Because that's exactly what it sounds like. It just sounds so much like the scraps of Danny Elfman, and I'm pretty sure that was intentional.
No, that's unfair to Neil Cicerega. This is like,
I like Neil Cicerega, to be clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like Lemon.
I think part of the reason this feels worse than the Potter stuff is that superhero fan stuff is unfortunately its own kind of tainted. Like, you can I can try to watch even good fan films, like really well-made fan films, and still have to do that thing where watching 2 minutes takes 6 minutes because you got to take a 4-minute break just to go, oh. And I think the moment that really broke me the first time I watched this was I was getting really into it. You know, it's the 2 diametric halves of little Bruce Wayne being being completely helpless. There's nothing he can do. And then the very next verse is him rising as this shadow Batman who suddenly there's nothing the criminals can do but run from him. And I thought that was incredibly well done, and I was quite impressed. And then the moment, I think, where it really began to fall apart for me was Lauren Lopez comes on.
Oh,
I knew it! I knew you were gonna have
doing a Walter Brennan voice as Commissioner Gordon. Like, and if you don't know who character actor Walter Brennan is, just imagine a prospector in your head. And that's close.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Lauren, but yeah, she did her best with the role she was given.
Sometimes actors make choices. And when you make a choice as an actor, you have to be persistent with it throughout the entire production for continuity's sake. And in this case, I think we may have put all of our chips down on Gordon as old man. And we didn't lose all of our money, but the croupier did take away one of our stacks.
Yeah.
I knew when Commissioner Gordon was on and doing that, like you said, old prospector. They even did like a Mark Twain joke.
They did. When I wrote Huckleberry Finn.
When I wrote Huckleberry Finn, I swear that when I was seeing that, I was like, oh my god, Rancid is gonna be pissed.
I wouldn't say pissed. I did make the gas face. Like, ooh.
Oh man.
I mean, I think it's a weird casting choice. I think they're just like, how can we make Laura not have her original voice this time? Oh, let's make her Commissioner Gordon. Because StarKid does not like having her use her natural voice. They just don't. And they don't do that for like at least a couple more musicals. Like, I think Twisted and Firebringer is when she actually uses her normal voice. Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of like casting Jamie Lynn Beatty as a character that is yelled at and beat up, and serves like the logical extension of that. Obviously, is a character that does nothing but get beat up and yelled at.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. What is her name?
Candy.
Oh.
It's literally just fucking Candy, man.
They literally make that joke.
I get it, obviously. Like, Sweet Tooth is the Joker. What are we gonna name the mall? Fuck it.
Oh god. I mean,
it's like they do put a little bit of thought into Sweet Tooth, like
oh, they do
a little bit.
I mean, to be fair,
Candy was I have to assume a last minute addition.
Yeah,
for some reason.
What was I going to say? Sweet Tooth, I believe, is actually a Batman villain, just a lesser known one.
New Adventures of Batman. Actually, I don't know why I know this. I know so little about Batman. But I do know New Adventures of Batman is where Sweet Tooth debuted.
And I think he's a lesser known villain in an older Batman thing.
Yeah, it was a new. I think it was a New Adventures of Batman, the one that also spawned. How familiar are you guys with Batmite?
Lego Batman movie, Dark Knight, Adam West.
I've seen Dark Knight. I've seen Dark Knight Rises. I forgot both of those.
No, I said Batmite.
Bat-Mike?
Batmite, as in bat, as in an imp, as in Batman's little pissant friend that follows him around everywhere.
No idea.
He was very memorably resurrected for Batman Brave and the Bold, where he was played by Paul Rubens, of all people.
Oh yeah.
It was well, this version was the first animated incarnation of Batmite. He, I think, was voiced by Lou Scheimer, and because it was a Filmation cartoon, and he was a little green guy dressed in purple. He was basically Orko. I'm going to say that. He was, if that helps contextualize it, he was basically Orko before Orko.
Okay.
And this cartoon, where I think Adam West and Burt Ward, or maybe it was it was either Burt Ward or it was Casey Kasem, but it was definitely Adam West. This villain, Sweet Tooth, originated. He was in, I think, the opening segment of one episode, and then clearly where the StarKid creators got their inspiration from. He appeared in a background as an background extra in an episode of Brave and the Bold as like an appeal to the obscurity, because the show was, I think, similar to what this musical was trying to do, like a very loving tribute to the more obscure parts of Batman media. To this point, to this end, it kind of feels like they're showing off. I'm not gonna say it's a complete failure. I'm going to say that it is a little showy. It's like your big notable villain be like they make fun of characters like Clock King and so on, and then to have your original character be so hopelessly obscure that there's basically nothing about him that you can create your own blank slate. It feels like a strange flex to me.
So what you're okay? So you're telling me that not only is Sweet Tooth not original to this musical and is actual canon to Batman. Are you telling me that Calendar Man?
Yup.
Is a real?
Calendar Man is a real villain.
Yep.
Yes. I actually knew this too.
An evil Mother Goose and evil Sherlock Holmes.
I want to say
No.
those are
No.
No.
Okay. Good. So I thought it was like the whole thing. It's like, what the fuck is happening to Batman?
I thought it was odd that they went on an extended riff about villains based on public domain literature, and they went with Scarecrow and not the Mad Hatter. They only mentioned that character like once as one of the many villains who has a thing on his head. Actually, Wash, if you have played Arkham City at all, I can actually tell you an almost equally strange way that Calendar Man has been recontextualized. You know that like hulking behemoth serial killer in the basement of the courthouse?
I've not played any of the Arkham games.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I cannot say anything about that.
I haven't played them, but I know what you're talking about.
He was reimagined, quote unquote, as this Hannibal Lecter type, completely shaven head with this ring of stick and poke date tattoos, like ringing around his head. It's odd. It was an odd choice.
That sounds cool though, especially compared to Lauren Lopez as Draco Malfoy. As
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we've actually been talking for more than a half hour. Do we want to get started, or
I mean, we have been getting started.
We haven't talked about Batman.
Batman is played by a favorite of Wash and Kirby fans.
Well, it's look, we really liked him at Voldemort, but also, you know, he had some whole points. Joe Walker, like I can't.
I do like Joe Walker as Batman in this.
Really?
I mean, well, you know, performance-based. He doesn't really elevate the material that much. His voice is great. His mannerisms are great. As it's like if you imagine sort of the childish yet gruff voiced Will Arnett Batman, you're basically in the ballpark.
Okay.
Like it's not quite at that level, but it is strangely endearing in a way.
While I'm not generally like thrilled about a lot of it, I do like, And I mean, I know, this isn't necessarily original, but normally people dance around the topic a little bit more. I kind of like that, he just kind of outright says, I don't remember what the exact quote is, but it's something along the lines of, anyone can do this thing. All you have to do is be a billionaire.
They were going hard on that.
Oh yeah, they did. They made
and
so
I
many
know
jokes
this is far from the first one that poked fun at that, but from all the other ones that I've seen, like I said, they dance around the topic a little bit. Like, for whatever reason, they try to be respectful of the rich. This one's just like, screw the rich.
I never worked a goddamn day in my life.
When it's Batman's turn to sing his verse in The American Way, his entire thing is about how great it is to be monstrously wealthy.
Yes. The American Way is the most directly satirical, bitingly satirical of it. The villains have their own number, and what they say is, never gonna win till your enemies are dead. Oh, the American way. Spreading dread and blowing up their heads, that's the American way. I was not expecting a critique on American foreign policy from StarKid Productions.
This is the conundrum. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I want to love that, but when you put it in something like this, it's just like, it's so out of place.
The songs are out of place.
Batman,
I agree.
I mean, that is something that actually could have been used as a joke, how Batman crusading against the abstract concept of crime itself is a forever war.
Yeah, that's true. And like Batman is like, even within like the films, Batman is no stranger to critiques and deeper looks in American culture, and especially American the American police system, like good Lord, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Ooh.
Yeah,
Dark Knight, which they were coming off, was just on the had already just introduced a very clumsy metaphor for the the burgeoning surveillance concerns of the Bush years, and then like Dark Knight Rises, which was on the horizon, did an even clumsier analog of Occupy Wall Street.
Yes, but this is not a review of the Dark Knight trilogy.
No.
It is sort of relevant because, like, the version of Alfred here is directly inspired.
It's literally Michael Caine as. It's literally
Michael Caine, Christian Bale, like. I don't think Lauren Lopez has heard Gary Oldman, so I don't think they were going for that.
No, they were just like, "Hey, Lauren, can you sound like a funny old man?" Good.
I'm an owl.
Funny to like. I think it would have been funny for her to try to do an inconsistent American accent, because Gary Oldman is shaky as fuck. Like you go back and watch those movies, especially when he starts yelling, it's like, oh, hey, there you are.
There you are.
There's the prisoner of Azkaban. There he is.
Everyone. Anyway,
give me everyone. Everyone, sir.
Okay. Honestly,
what do you mean? There's bombs in the harbor.
Anyway, it's kind of like Starship, where Joe Walker only plays Batman, and then everyone else plays like different ensemble. Only, I would say the ensemble is a lot more sporadic in this one, whereas like maybe like
Superman as well. Superman was like consistent, just the one character, right?
I think he might have. I think he might have played some ensemble roles, but very small ones. Very small.
I think Brian is one of the reporters who is talking to Gordon very early on, trying to get more.
Rabble. Yeah.
And he might have been evil Huckleberry Finn. I couldn't tell who was there, but
the thing is, I think he may have been intentional. Like, he may have been quasi disguised as Clark Kent at that time?
I think that was the case. You know what? When I saw Brian Holden and I saw the glasses, I was like, okay, that's Clark Kent.
I didn't even think of that.
No, I think you're right. I think that's supposed to be Clark Kent, not a reporter.
Because the glasses come back.
They do.
Yeah,
they
they do.
use as a joke.
Yeah.
You know what? I did not expect that of StarKid. I will give them props for that.
Yeah. What I won't give them props for is the fucking weird joke about Alfred doing a Chinese stereotype.
He
like
is,
the Irish one. I like.
It was
That
fine.
goofy.
I mean, that one's fine, mostly because it feels less Irish and more Leprechaun.
Yeah.
But then he came in and started doing the Chinese accent, and it's like, oh boy.
No.
And especially when he started
boy.
replacing like L's with R's.
Yeah. At least they didn't do it for long. But
then
still,
they brought it
like,
back.
come on, man.
I think it's also interesting in part because, I mean, obviously O'Malley is such a character in part because he uses a fucking leprechaun hat with beard strap like you probably found it in a dumpster
Yeah.
in a pub outside after St. Patrick's Day.
It looks like Party City. It looks like something like something you
Like,
hang on a
really
door at Party
bad.
City. Yeah.
Really bad.
I think that's part of the joke, but
Probably.
Yeah, of course. Like this is not a smart Batman.
no.
And then Quandly comes on
Yeah.
with the big long rat tail and and bending over, and he says "prees."
Yes.
Yes, the Prees was awful.
It was awful. And again, they don't do it for long, thank God. But at the same time, why do it in the first place? Like,
Yeah, like, you know that they would be like, oh, this is just so racist, and we just we know we're not like that. Like, this is how racist this.
it was bad. It was
I like the way
Look
you
at
say
how
it.
silly Alfred is being.
Like, thank God we got Starship because StarKid is honestly kind of problematic at this point.
yeah.
So I'm just very glad that we have Starship. We have like this one example of it's like you're not being problematic.
You're actually being like really good, and I mean,
Like I'm not. So I've been a little worried to drop this. I'll say it. I like this good enough. I don't think it was that bad. I see. It's not like a Cars thing where it's like I'm gonna defend this. I love this. I don't love this. I like it well enough.
yeah.
I'm obviously going to defend Bits. I'm not going to defend either Quan Lee or that joke about Penguin getting something up his asshole.
Oh shit! I forgot about that one. Oh
Yeah, no, neither of those things are like.
No, that was.
They're very uncomfortable, actually.
Yeah.
I might go onto Rancid's side, though not as depressed, and say that I wasn't very impressed with this. I felt that it was like I said earlier with the Bad Orngor Borngoy. I didn't really like the songs. So this is the first what's the first time with this new
composer. Yeah.
Yeah,
New composer. I mean, for the last four musicals.
His first and only composition from what I saw. I couldn't find. I didn't see him do any other work for StarKid.
Oh no, he's involved in StarKid.
Which one?
He's actually acting in Twisted.
Yeah, he's the Sultan in Untwisted.
Yes.
Oh, wait,
And
are
is
you
he the
talking about?
composer? Is he the
Are you-
composer?
Are you
No.
talking about Nick
No.
Lang?
No,
You're talking
he's,
about Nick Gage?
Nick Gage is the composer.
I'm talking about Scott
Yeah,
Lamps.
Nick
the
Gage-
other one.
yeah, Nick Gage and
Scott Lamp,
Scott Lamps or whatever his name is. They
Scott Lamp.
composed this musical, but composition wise, Nick Gage doesn't do anything again. But Nick Gage is in other musicals, like acting.
No,
in them.
no, I got that. He's been in previous ones, but Scott Lamp, I'm pretty sure this is his first and only competition.
Maybe.
So random. There's just get moving on with the topics, I guess. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When we did StarKid, oh my god, when we did Starship, we briefly talked about Holy Musical Batman for all of like 5 seconds.
Yes.
Both you and special guest Ana Yume said that there is a character in this that as soon as we saw them, we would fall in love with them. Who was it?
It was supposed to be.
Was it supposed to be Sweet Tooth?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Sweet Tooth because I loved his performance.
We talked about this yesterday. I thought you were talking about Mr. Freeze. Because I'll say straight up, my favorite thing about the whole musical was Mr. Freeze.
And only because
very,
of
very
the...
not like monotonous, but very like still very droned. Like
I've got ice in my veins.
yeah. What was that line specifically? He just says, "I have ice in my veins."
I don't know if Jim Pavolo can actually sing, but he doesn't need to.
He doesn't exactly.
My
like
thing,
from what I know, Rancid, you can verify this or not. Obviously, everybody knows Mr. Freeze as a more serious villain nowadays because of the animated series, and it's probably better off that way. But before animated series, he was kind of a joke. Am I right about that?
Well, the thing is, before the animated series, nobody really knew anything about him other than his appearances on the Batman show.
Yeah, and Batman and Robin, where, of course, in Batman and Robin, he's a joke.
Well, no, obviously. But there are, like, the legacy that Batman and Robin drew from was the Batman live-action series, where he is portrayed in 3 different episodes by 3 different actors. But it's really, it's in increasingly elaborate makeup, but it's the Otto Preminger one over George Sanders and Eli Wallach that fans most remember. And actually, this is an interesting bit of inside baseball. The longtime Batman writer and longtime editor of the Batman books, Denny O'Neil, did not like Mr. Freeze, which is why I guess I can see where he's coming from, since back then it was an extremely limited character, and there weren't a lot of opportunities for it. So you would just see very scattershot depictions of him throughout the decades. And the thing that really turned it around, of course, was the Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, where they gave him
fantastic episode, Heart of Ice. Batman and Robin tried to draw on both of these things.
Yes, but
it was a cool body.
I forgot they tried to be serious with that.
Yes, for some reason, when they have Arnold Schwarzenegger doing.
Give
Stay
StarKid
cool,
credit.
bad
At
boy.
least they didn't try to make Mr. Freeze serious. They were like,
Uma,
"Hey,
I will
we
make
know
puns with you, but also my wife."
At least they were like, "Look, Jim Pavolo is gonna be Mr. Freeze. It's gonna be funny, and that's it. That we're not gonna do any more with that. That's all it needs to be." And honestly,
I'll admit, like, as much as I did not find the Two-Face stuff funny, Two-Face, get your broke ass out of here did make me laugh.
Oh my god, that was one of the best lines of the show. Like, I was like, okay, they're really drawing on this. They're doing the Seinfeld thing, which was maybe funny the first time, but then they like beat the dead horse.
It was getting old.
And then eventually, it's old when even Mr. Freeze is sick of him. But yeah. But also, it's the introduction to Sweet Tooth. And I know you guys may are... I love the performance of Sweet Tooth. And I love the performance of Jeff Blim. Because this is his first role.
It is a fantastic introduction to Jeff Blim, I must say.
You could tell he's loving every single minute he is on stage. And I love it.
I really enjoyed the performance of
Yes.
Sweet Tooth.
Yes.
I know what you're going to say, Aaron. I agree.
I like the puns.
Yeah. Oh my god, the fact that he has candy. How did he?
I was waiting for red vines. I was so waiting for red vines.
Can this is another performance note that I would like to just highlight. It is so fucking difficult for an actor to be doing live theater and pull the correct prop out of your
Yes.
jacket
Yes.
when
Yeah,
your pocket
specifically
is
out
just
of
full
clothing.
fucking candy.
Yes. And
Like-
it has to be the exact one, and he can't look either time. He has to. They have that pattern down pat, and this is one point that I'll give this from the technical perspective is when Starship is when they go hog wild on puppetry. This is when they go hog wild on costume.
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna say I loved the costumes.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
this is.
Like
That's the thing,
I think Batman's was a little like cheap looking, I guess, but we talk about Calendar Man and how goofy it is, but if I think of Calendar Man, I just think of some psycho wrapped in a calendar. Like, yeah, like that can work.
I think that the higher production values on this one,
Yeah.
and again, keep in mind the only thing I have to base it off of is me and my dick.
Yeah,
I think the higher production values may actually work against it in this aspect.
Oh,
because well, I don't want to be mean because I do really like musicals, is the thing, but there starts to be a sort of like as it gets more and more polished, there starts to be more of a over earnest theater kid quality that creeps into these things. Like
I feel that. Like
I
like they're acting, but like they're putting too much into it.
I think it's also, and especially like they're stage acting, but at the same time there are constantly these camera close-ups on everybody,
Oh my,
which
yeah.
are sometimes not flattering.
Yeah, that's true. What I like the example that I'm gonna make is Batman and Robin the movie, which is that like so I never finished it. The one time I watched it, just to see what it was like, and I think I might have gone like 10 minutes, and then I said no. and the
because you were not that familiar with the series.
no, but it was like there's obviously a camp level to this, but it's a camp level on like $100 million budget, so it's not camp. It's not, and it's faux camp, and it doesn't. It's like it's trying to do like the cheap little TV show, but because it's so grand, it just feels
Weird.
worse than phony.
Yeah.
It's gaudy.
It's
but
gaudy.
It's gaudy, but at the same time, they have so much money to be gaudy with that they end up pushing it from rather silly looking, like intentionally silly looking, to like the old TV show, to suddenly I don't know, Mr. Freeze takes up like permanent residency as a Vegas show or something. Like there's fucking dancing feather costume gorillas and a giant man-eating plant, and the Neon Gang from Batman Forever that lives in a fucking Turkish bathhouse. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my God.
I'm still curious to rewatch Batman and Robin one day, but
One of these
that'll
days.
And before the podcast,
Maybe.
I almost did for this one, but I kept forgetting because it was like I was so close to like renting it. I was like,
I have said it before. I don't entirely blame Joel Schumacher for that.
no,
Obviously,
no, absolutely
a lot of it is, as I have pointed out, prolific and terrible screenwriter Akiva Goldsman,
Oh, okay.
who
and
has
from what I remember, I mean, I don't remember too much. Batman Forever, like, is pretty okay. Like, that one's not too bad, right? It's Batman and Robin.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Like,
No,
it's,
no, I would say Batman Forever is worse because they're still trying
Oh.
to be serious sometimes.
but it also has
that's
Jim-
fair. That's fair.
but it also has Jim Carrey as the Riddler, so that's entertaining. So think of
Basically, the thing is like and Chase Meridian, who shows up in this musical. There are a lot of scenes in Batman Forever that you're supposed to take semi-seriously. Whereas with Batman and Robin, like it's sort of a little Wayne Manor is sort of like a little oasis of normalcy. Like George Clooney's gay-coded Batman comes back to the house to like chat with his dying father surrogate, and then he goes out of the house, and it's instantly like all plants and ice and shit.
That's kind of
looked...
what I think about this one. I see scenes where like Sweet Tooth has Robin captive, and he's talking about the warheads, and he brings the lady out as an example, and her head, like, I mean, obviously, talking about the story, her head actually blows up, and Batman has this dilemma, and it's like, it's kind of deep stuff, but it's in the same play as all this other silly, goofy stuff, which,
Yeah.
if it was better balanced, then maybe I would have maybe... Because this is kind of the thing, like, I could get super into if there was a proper balance, but
Yeah,
it's the
not to
fact
mention
that
that
there's
it's-
that, and then and then during that thing, he's like, I made a Facebook poll, and it's just like, okay.
Oh god.
Not
That's,
to mention that it is a moral dilemma introduced based on yet another fucking candy pun.
yeah.
I like the puns. I like the. I mean,
the puns are-
that's what I'm talking about, and where it could actually work. Like this whole time, he's like, "Oh, me and my goofy candy puns," but then like it's twisted now. Now it's like, "Oh, people are dying because of my stupid candy puns." Like that could have worked, but it's that they didn't balance it properly.
Yeah, it's like they need to have a right balance between goofy and serious, and
Yeah.
to be fair, it's very hard to do, especially when you are trying to make a parody of Batman. But there were points where it was so goofy. Like you even see like it just like with all the goofy scenes from like Batman and Robin dancing and skipping around while fighting people to like watching to them poisoning the water supply with freaking candy.
Someone poisoned the water hole.
There was one joke about the tendency to do that. Was they mentioned the Joker did it, they mentioned the Scarecrow did it, and they mentioned Killer Croc did it, and it killed him.
I forgot about that. That actually made me laugh.
The warhead even became a setup for yet another reference to Superman 4: A Quest for Peace of all things.
Yeah.
With Superman throwing and I was fully expecting like Nuclear Man or Nuclear Warhead Man, whatever, to suddenly come into this. Like that was weird.
I mean,
no, I think the reference, like the crowd loved this reference. I don't know how we all thought about it. Rancid, you didn't. It's in Act 2, so you probably didn't see it, but they foreshadow it pretty hard.
Oh no!
When Superman flies around the world backwards and he time travels backwards.
Yeah.
That was like, and you know the crowd went nuts. Like that was where it's like, oh, this one's for you, crowd. Remember this moment in the Superman '80s movie?
Well, no, that's specifically that's Superman the Motion Picture, 1978.
Yeah, the original
70s
Superman
movie. My
picture.
bad.
Yeah, it's like, you know, he has to stop the two different missiles on two different continents, and he saves a whole bunch of people, and he like saves both of the missiles, but Lois is dead, and he just launches himself into the stratosphere. He's fucking screaming, ah!
Yep.
And then he reverses time, which
Yes.
Which opens up its own sort of can of worms.
Yeah.
the very concept of reversing time by spinning the Earth backward and everything
so
just
bad.
flying back into place is so much more unwittingly campy than any of the Luther stuff. And like it fits oddly into this musical where they mime like being reversed.
Oh,
Complete with sped up dialogue.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like they were talking. They made it sound like they were talking backwards and sped up. That was a detail I liked. That was a detail that I liked.
Yeah, they were unpoisoned by it. I will say that like when that blow up happened, they had to explain, like when that first when that woman first tasted the warhead and her head exploded, she just fell, and they had to say to the audience, "Yeah, her head exploded."
Well, no, she fell, but like she put her head like below her chest, so it looked like she didn't have a head. I mean, and this is a regard where it's like there's only so much that you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think falling and positioning it so it looks like you can't see the head, it's the best that you're gonna do.
That's actually something interesting I thought of during Penguin's death. It's like he stumbles back. It's like they couldn't have put some sort of prop head over him, like really quickly, and just have him fall over from the shadows.
I mean, to be fair, they do use a prop dummy at one point during like the "I'm a man" song, but that's the joke.
Dummy Batman, yeah.
And they did that as a joke. So if they did that for a serious moment, it probably would have been too much.
Yeah, I can buy that. I can buy that.
Are you accusing Penguin of using a fruit gusher like a cyanide tooth as a serious moment?
As serious for this show. Because technically, when I say serious moment, I mean a moment that defines the plot or is important to the plot.
A crucial moment.
A crucial moment to the plot. Because this is where they first learn about Sweet Tooth. And they learn about it because of Penguin. When
they're going through and they're talking about like the hints that they're given, it reminded me of like the Riddler bits from the Adam West cartoon. Now, riddle me this, Batman. Like all that stuff.
I thought they were gonna be doing Riddler, especially when he like showed up early into this. Like, Superman just says, "Hey, here's the Riddler."
I was really pumped because when the play started and it was like it was serious, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. But it got kind of melodramatic, and I'm like, I don't know, this is what I'm here for. And then when it started getting a little goofier, I'm like, oh, okay, Riddler villain. Like, this is really playing it up like Adam West, so Riddler villain, that's perfect. And then they went with Sweet Tooth. I was like, oh.
I mean...
Yeah, I don't really get the status of Sweet Tooth, because they, like, all the other rogues seem really interested in Sweet Tooth, because apparently he's been making a name for himself in Gotham with his daring candy-themed crimes. But
I mean,
either like Batman has been in some sort of depressive funk, but has somehow not heard of Sweet Tooth at all. Like doesn't even have the slightest clue who he is.
This is not a very smart Batman.
Even after the big crime fighting montage where he takes down all the other villains, like presumably it just never came up.
I mean, to be fair, he did kill a henchman with a lollipop. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, just like stabs him in the throat.
Stabs him while quoting the frickin' Tootsie Pop commercial.
Oh yeah,
it's janky. It does not hang well from its foundation.
Yeah, I will defend Sweet Tooth. I don't like this musical that much, but I will defend Sweet Tooth because they were one of the things I really enjoyed about this, and one of the things that kept me watching.
I'll defend the costumes.
They went all in on Sweet Tooth.
They really
did. That's at least something I can say. Is that they did not use half measures. Candy is there.
Yeah, Candy is literally just a...
But I think the most impressive... We were talking about this. The most impressive thing about the candy isn't the writing, it's the actor pulling out the right candy at the right time.
No, I think Rancid was talking about the character Candy.
I thought it was like Cindy or something. I don't like Kindy.
This is why you don't name the character fucking Candy.
The Harley Quinn replacement is Candy. Yeah.
Like, at least with Sweet Tooth, you could argue at least they're just... Yes, he's Jokerized, but it is based on a Batman villain. Candy is literally their version of Harley Quinn. Like,
yeah,
literally.
Yeah. Jamie does do a very good voice.
Oh yeah, she does, and she plays a great.
She has like that little. She has that little tick where it's the measured giggle every time. That's really good.
Yeah.
That was a good giggle. That's good. Yeah. Doing giggles like that, that's not easy.
No.
Yeah. It felt like a Margot Robbie performance pre Margot Robbie.
Oh no, Wash. Let's be fair. That accent is so her accent is so much more consistent than Margot Robbie's.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word
Margot
for it.
Robbie's from the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, that's why I never seen it.
I watched the new trailer, and she said angels are splooging all over us, which is a terrible line, admittedly. I like sort of squinted and said, did she say smooching? Because it's that bad. It's like Disney has like this little internal list of things that Donald Duck can't say because the voice makes it impossible to understand. Which is why he just keeps saying, "Oh, this is a fine kettle of fish" over and over again.
Donald Duck Batman crossover.
I mean, honestly, with the amount of Alfred pretended to be, he could be Donald Duck at this point. There is someone
that would have worked better than the one.
Let's be fair. Donald Duck is Batman in Italy and nowhere else.
Okay,
true.
We've gone an hour and 5 minutes in, and we haven't talked about Robin.
Yeah, that's who I was just about to bring up. Robin, as
we've been talking a lot long. We only have 10 minutes left.
We haven't talked about Robin, and this is Nick Lang's biggest role in StarKid, I think. And he's usually just the writer. So,
and I'm not a fan of it.
Me neither.
He's too smiley, and not in the way where it's like he's happy. It's like it's kind of like what I don't like about like Tim and Eric whenever they do acting is that like they're like way too
like they're trying too hard.
They're trying too hard. They're way too in on it, and meanwhile like John C. Reilly is schooling them with Steve Brule. It's like I'm sorry. I
really tried, but it just, I don't know if Nick was just nervous because this was his biggest role or what, or if it's just like the way he was directed by his brother. I don't know, but there's just something. I mean, I appreciate he tried. It's just that I personally didn't like the performance.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And
this was not a good play for Nick's.
I don't want to recast, but like, what if like you switched roles with Lauren? And like Lauren was Robin, and Nick was Commissioner Gordon.
Okay, I can see that.
I could see it too, and I'm like, do they just want to try something new, or just give Nick a shot? Which I understand that.
Maybe I was gonna say maybe they didn't want to keep casting Lauren as male characters, but we already had Malfoy.
Yep.
I mean, but like. Right now, we already have Commander Gordon, so that's not what they did either.
Exactly.
So that's not no.
I don't know.
Oh, God. I just remember something really mean that was my reaction. Was that I was reading up on the trivia of this. Because one of the only consistent places that you can get trivia on StarKid Productions, unfortunately, is TV Tropes.
Yep, that's where I read a bunch.
Had to hold your nose, and I was reading up, and apparently Darren Criss was not wrote his own version of the opening chorus, and was not available to compose for this, but later said, "Oh, Nick Gage's stuff is better than what I would have come up with anyway." And I remember thinking, "Oh, Darren, how generous of you."
Okay,
how diplomatic.
The reason I think that I did not like this musical, especially compared to Starship, was because of the music. And I just there was something off about it to me. Like, what is it? And I thought it was like, oh, maybe it's because it's like Nick Gage and I don't like keyboard music. But I've like,
I love new wave.
Yeah,
I love new wave. Are you kidding me? I love synthesizers and like 80s music. That was like some of that was like one of my first like fads when I was like when I
remember that.
Yeah, I loved like the bangles and shit like that. Are you kidding?
And I don't know. I just like I thought I didn't like it, but then I've heard stuff like that. And I was like, wait a minute, no, that music's good. What is it about Holy Musical Batman And I'll admit, there's some songs I do like. I still like the opening song a lot, and I really like Rogues Are We, which is the villain song. I really like that. But those and maybe the end of like Batman's song, Somebody's Buddy. Those are the only ones I can think of that I really like.
The multi-part vocal harmony in
Yes.
Somebody's Buddy is
Yes.
pretty good. I liked the part of To Be a Man where they're just singing about fucking each other up. I liked that. Basically anything that did not involve a Casio keyboard being thrown down an elevator shaft was.
I wanna like the American way so bad.
Yeah,
I wanna like it
know,
so much, but like on it, I think I said this before. I don't even remember. Separate it from the play, I love it. Combine it with the play, wow, it does not fit like at all.
Starkid.
It was only a matter of time before someone made that mistake.
StarKid does have a thing where some of the songs are good on their own, better than they are in the musical. Me and My Dicks, I'm Ready to Go. Perfect example of that. It works so much better out of the musical than it does with.
And there's so many hooks, and there are hooks. Like sometimes I am making toast, and I'll just start humming to myself. It's just and
and I even found myself doing that with like Holy Musical Batman.
Yeah, you kept doing that while we were waiting for the call. Yeah,
I was, because it's one of the two songs that was stuck in my head.
And they kept saying that over and over again. I'll be honest, like with the Holy Musical Bat, when they were singing that, it's like, I really feel like we need someone like Anna Yumi or someone more musically inclined, because it felt like it was like out of key. It didn't feel like.
I'm going to go ahead and say that it was not musically intricate.
Yeah,
like it was like it mostly involved major and minor chords. There weren't necessarily stuff like diminished chords or slightly more complicated. You got the 1, and then you got the 3 above it, and then you got the 5.
Yeah.
And it's better than what I could write, but at the same time, it's not better than what I would try to write.
And especially for me, going from Starship, which I consider Darren Criss' greatest work, to at least in StarKid, to this, that's probably why I didn't like it.
Yeah, no Darren Criss here. This is their first time, and you can hear it.
Yeah, I hate that you can, because
without Darren Criss, the one trick they have is that they have a phrase like Holy Musical Batman or Robin Sucks or The American Way, and they just keep saying that over and over again. Robin Sucks, American Way. They just keep saying it over and over again.
Rogues Are We.
Rogues Are We. Exactly.
The only song where I don't think it has
this
that
composed
pattern,
by Wesley Willis?
maybe, I don't know who that is, but
Oh, god damn it. That was a good reference. I swear.
I don't know either, but I'll applaud. Sure.
The only song that I think doesn't follow that pattern maybe is the one that Batman and Robin sing when they first fight crime together. But honestly, I don't remember much of that song, which is funny because that's technically the Act 1 closer. That is the moment that's supposed to draw people into Act 2. That whole scene and song.
I don't know what just made me think of this, but I got a nice chuckle out of when they get the newspaper. And Batman's like, let me read the funnies. And Alfred's like, oh, I'll read them to you. That's pretty funny. I want to read them myself.
Again,
I
Walker,
don't know. What just made me think about that. It's very scattered, probably not that big of a deal, but I got a good chuckle out of it.
Honestly, that's the thing. Holy Musical Batman is a little bit of a mess, but it has some good moments in it.
I think I was gonna save this for my summary, but I guess I'll just say it now. Like, when you look at the bigger picture, it falls apart. Individual pieces of it, I think, work.
Yes.
It's when you try to put them all together, you see, like, this really great jigsaw puzzle that you can't wait to put together, but then you find out that you don't have the correct pieces.
I mean, that's the same thing that we liked parts of Me and My Dick. Didn't we?
Says you.
Well,
I
okay, I was the one willing to say nice things about certain parts of Me and My Dick.
That's fair. That's fair. Again, I'm in a very different spot when it comes to that play.
I mean, to be fair, I had some moments that I liked too, but it's problematic. And I think Holy Musical Batman's better.
So not so much for Rancid, but I think for me would be Potter's sequel. There were things that I really liked about Potter's sequel, but then you got into like the problematic stuff. I don't want to bring it up because it's really bad.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that it's like that one had like the super problematic stuff. This like the Asian stereotype was horrible, and I'm not going to defend it, and you can argue like that's enough, but it's gone quick enough to where it's like it sucks, but does it ruin it? I don't know. Like something like Potter's sequel or Cars 2. Oh, that's the timer.
I wouldn't say it ruins it. It probably ruins your time watching it.
And speaking of time watching,
yeah, the timer.
I want to say really quick. I just looked up Wesley Willis. I know now who you're talking about. That is a solid reference. Good work.
Let me see. Let me look that up real quick.
No, I'm not sure if you'll know. You'll know. He's like a what do you call them? Outsider artist.
He's the outside. He's the most beloved outsider artist of his time. Is the thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts time.
All right.
Yes.
Who wants to go? Because I usually guess I go last, but Rancid, if you want to go last, you can go last.
I think I'll go first, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh man. They were clearly trying to do something in a similar vein that they had been doing since a long time before, and since they would continue to do again. The thing is that superhero movies themselves are so dreadfully fraught. Is that even if they're technically well made, like the Nolan films, discounting the sound issues, which I think are pretty legendary by that point. Even if they're technically well made, there are plot points in the Nolan films which just kind of unravel everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does bring together the whole thing of how it is so difficult to make either a superhero thing serious and enjoyable, or silly and enjoyable, and not have it bottom out into the gray middle ground of semi-watchable. The thing about Harry Potter is that for all of its world building, it is a dreadfully scant book. Like there are so many everything. It just gives a bunch of goofy names to random characters, gives them a backstory. At the same time, it does not really explore the function of the world in which it lives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Musical Batman attempts this, right down to even like describing different situations. For example, the way in which Superman conducts his business, or the way in which Green Lantern lives. Like, tossed off, but those do help flesh out the world. At the same time, anything involving superheroes is by nature, you go, if you're not absolutely perfect chances are you're gonna sound like some sort of folk song from that era. Like, I don't know, it's the guy from Miracle of Sound doing a shitty Mark Hamill impression, and it's gonna fall by the wayside, right down the memory hole. Like, it's so difficult to get right. And in that instance, I almost feel compelled to congratulate them for making it as tight as they did, but I also didn't enjoy myself that much, so I don't feel generous. I don't feel spiteful, but I don't feel generous.
I think you feel a little better after talking about it, because
at the start. Oh man.
At the start you were exhausted.
I actually crashed watching this. The thing, like, I immediately, like, as soon as the credits rolled, I just fell asleep. Oh, and it was, I won't lie, it was restful, but I haven't done that in a very long time.
when we were starting this, like, I had the thought in my head, are we being cruel?
Which segues nicely. Rancid, this or Cars 2? Which is worse?
Well, in spite of it all, you don't see people. This wasn't something that you were subjected to trailers for. This wasn't something that they made an endless spate of merchandise out of. This wasn't something that they screened on 1,300 theaters nationwide. So in that retrospect, I kind of have to give it up to Holy Musical Batman for being unpleasant, but not being a cultural behemoth levels of unpleasant. This is not something that continues to haunt a studio's legacy long after the fact.
True. Very true.
Do you want to keep going down the list? Because I know your other bottom two are Cars 3 and Sonic.
Oh god, Sonic. Oh god.
It never dies.
Better than Sonic, less funny than Sonic.
Yes.
I hate to say that, but maybe yes.
If only by happy accident. I'd have to put it and Cars 3 personally on the same level, just for the moribund feeling of duty that it inspired in me.
Okay.
All right. That's fair.
I am doing this for my friends. I will talk about it afterward, and then I will fucking forget it.
Again, it's like, is this mean? Should we have not brought you in for this?
Hey, technically, him doing Holy Musical Batman was your idea, Wash. Which, speaking of, your turn.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it was. I was hoping that Rancid would pick Holy Musical Batman simply because Rancid is the comic book buff, and especially the Batman buff. And so for me, again, we talked about this. It's a patchwork. It's not as good as the sum of its parts. And honestly, most of the parts aren't that good for me. The thing, like, the puns, I feel like I should love it, and I love the physical comedy, the prop comedy that they do with the puns in Sweet Tooth. Especially the one I wrote down is that he has a henchman named Gob. And the hostage is about to run away, and he says, "Gob, stop her!" That is a good. Yeah. Like, you wrote a character purely for the pun. I'll appreciate.
And then Robin counters with, "I'm the only jawbreaker around here," or some
Oh.
fucking thing like that, and
Yeah.
then claps him in the face.
Yeah, no, specifically it was, "I'm the only jawbreaker around here." What?
Yeah. We didn't even talk about. Oh, we kind of talked about Superman, but we didn't talk about him as a character.
No, he didn't. He's fine.
He's fine. I wasn't sold on Batman either. I wasn't sold on Robin. Sweet Tooth, I like the performer. That's really all I can say. I like the performer. For Sweet Tooth, he gave it his all, and they also had a lot of fun with the costumes and the prop gags. The
Superman character arc is kind of an interesting, unintentional meta commentary on how DC has shelved its first superhero in favor of its second big superhero. And it's also kind of a tribute to how much comics and comics fandom is spinning its wheels, that it is still relevant almost a decade later.
Yeah, that they don't quite know what to do with Superman because he's like the Yankees of superheroes, where it's just like, of course he's gonna be like, yeah, he's like great, but like that's not fun. It's just, who cares? And yeah, they try to make him like, oh, he's lonely, and they're like, okay.
And eventually they just, and the thing they eventually decide is that, and I agree with it, is like, he's Superman, he helps people, that's cool.
Yeah. I'll grant that the Batman speech of saying like superheroes are so cool is better than Martha. I'll grant that. If we're talking about Superman Batman fights, at least
Is this Superman?
Better.
No, this is Superman's friend.
I was like Snoop Dogg. Oh yeah, he has friends with Snoop Dogg. I forgot about that guy. Anyway, long and short of it is, it's, and also like mostly it's mostly like mediocre, and like I don't like the songs. I don't like most of the characters, and the ones I do like, it's just kind of like I'll take them and leave them. It's like thank God like Rancid had a mental breakdown, because honestly I'm not sure how much I would have had to say about it.
All right, Kirby, you're up.
Okay. I generally, I'm pretty easy to please. And I definitely feel like that's applicable here. I did enjoy myself. I like Act 2 more than Mr. Freeze notwithstanding. I like Act 2 more than I like Act 1. I feel like that's when things really start to pick up. Honestly, I kind of feel like if it was a one act, you kind of just blew through Act 1 super fast, and then you just kind of had Act 2 by itself.
Yeah.
A lot of the problems wouldn't have been so bad, especially the dissonance. I feel like Act 2 actually does have a good balance between being kind of goofy and being more serious. It's really Act 1.
Yeah.
And when you look at it like that, I mean, Act 1's not very, I'm not saying Act 2 is perfect. It has its fair share of problems. But it's a lot better. And Act 1 by itself, again, not crazy about. Some things that made me laugh. Freeze was in it. That's enough for me to at least say it was worth it. But generally, I left the play thinking that it was pretty good. I left thinking it was kind of better than I do now, mostly because I left thinking more about Act 2 than anything else. I was going to settle on like a C+-ish for my ranking. And then, as we were talking, Asian butler, I can't believe I forgot his name. Alfred, yeah. That was brought up, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, no, C+, that's not gonna go. So, we're going with C- instead.
Yeah.
The only thing that I really have to add, and I think this is more for random than anybody else, But when we did Starship, I was like, yeah, A or A minus. I don't really know. I have to think on this. Having seen this, I can settle on A. I can settle on a regular A, not A minus. So there's your win, Random.
Yes, yay.
I'll say that like I'll probably give this a grade of like. Thing is, I think I gave the first part of the musical a D plus.
You gave it like a B minus. You gave it something
you
like
gave
really
it like
high.
a B minus. Yeah.
No. Oh, I think I did C plus.
Yeah. No, you did. You gave.
First you gave it a B. First you gave it a B. Then I complained about it, and you were like B minus.
All right. Yeah, you gave. I remember. I edited this. You gave him at a B minus. I think me and my dick you failed, and then sequel you gave like a D.
Okay. So maybe again this is just off of this because I'm feeling like a C minus for this one. And knowing that I gave more for part of musical, like oh boy, this is gonna be. While we're talking about this, before we get to random, one of my notes for Act 1 was the first act is shorter than Very Potter sequel, but even less happens. And yeah, it's like there's it's just like there's a little bit of buildup of characters, but there's just so little that actually happens in the first act. And
I'd say there's like a tiny bit more than sequel. Like nothing happens in sequel. Nothing happens in sequel.
Okay.
Final note is that you can edit this out, Random. I forgot what my final note was.
Aww.
So I wasn't really fond of this musical much to begin with, and if you talked to me with this would originally probably would have been in the bottom. This was before I watched Me and My Dick again. So,
is it still near the bottom?
The thing is, I hate that I say this, but like I watched it 1.5 times because I feel like I had to watch it again, and I don't know. I just don't like the music as much. Like nowhere near. I mean, music it takes a lot to make, and I'm sure Nick Gage did put their heart and soul into it, or at least tried. It's just that it was not something I was into, and I just didn't. Nick Lang as Robin didn't do much for me. Joe Walker was fine as Batman at points, but there's even some points where I was just like, and as like if it weren't for Joe Walker being Joe Walker, I probably would have.
Most of these jokes are jokes that if you're even slightly peripheral to comics fandom, you've probably heard like quite a few times before.
Yeah, exactly. I still like Sweet Tooth. He was my favorite thing about the show and still is. Mostly the performance, but I still also love the costume and the candy puns and placement. And like I like the ensemble a lot. I'm not gonna lie, the ensemble's really great. Jim Povolo as Mr. Freeze. The guy who played Penguin, I thought did a good job. Lauren Lopez, yes, she was miscasted, but she still did the best she could, and she still got a laugh out of me. And I feel so mixed. I feel so mixed. This is one I'm gonna have to watch again to figure out the ranking for. I know it. Like, as of now, it's better than Me and My Dick and a Harry Potter musical, but I don't know if it's better than sequel for me, in my opinion. As of now, I have to put it below sequel. So my ranking as of now is Starship first, sequel second, Holy Musical Batman third, a Harry Potter musical fourth, and Me and My Dick fifth.
This is definitely, I'm looking forward to what our rankings are going to be at the very end. Like, you know, when it all comes to, I mean, Wash and I are going to be first impressions, of course. Yeah. But still, just comparing everything, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting.
Well, you two are rewatching it, so Rancid, you don't have to rewatch this again.
I'm not rewatching all of these. No way.
Rewatch ones that you are uncertain of.
I mean, I'm pretty certain on everything so far, but I'll keep you updated. Speaking of keeping you updated, what I was gonna say before, I'll keep it quick so we can move on. Wash gave this a C and I gave it a C minus, and I like that more. Let that be a lesson to all of you kids out there that grading things is not the way to go. We're just doing it because it's easy.
That's why I'm doing the ranking. Anyways, let's go on to the last part, where we recognize the performers of this show. And even though I still think a lot of the performers did great, and there's some I really like, and we're gonna name a performer that we like, and if they name it, we can't name them. Rancid, you're going first.
I am purposefully going to avoid stepping on anyone's toes here. And I will repeat that Jamie Lynn Beatty, for like maybe the collective minute or so that she was on the stage, really tried to own what was her role.
Yeah.
Yeah. As both Poison Ivy and Candy.
Yeah,
I'd
she was
say.
Poison Ivy as well.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So that bumps it up to a full 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie Lynn's so talented, but they don't do much with her. And it bothers me. They will use her more in other musicals. I know. I promise you that.
I mean, they did use her quite a lot in Me and My Gumshoe.
I mean, they did, but like they'll use her in other things too. But yeah, good choice. Good choice. You two watch or Kirby. You two decide who's going next.
You know what? I'll give this to Kirby fan.
All right, I'm gonna hard meme here. Hear me out on this, but tell me the name. Who is the actor for Alfred?
Oh God, he's
Chris
new.
Allen.
Chris Allen. Yeah,
Chris
this
Allen.
is his first
Okay.
time in StarKid.
Not for his Alfred. This, like,
Oh.
if we thought the movie was cheesy, the ending where Spider-Man pops on and they're like, "Whoa, it's Spider-Man!" That role, that's gonna be my shout out.
To be
And
fair,
then
that
he
is
takes
Alfred.
he takes off his mask, and it's Alfred.
Yeah, I know. It's so great. It's so great, but specifically his Alfred being Spider-Man. That's my pick.
And everyone's been like, "Whoa, look at his flips!" Yeah.
It's like one of those children's party entertainers that you hire for the day. And specifically, it's one of those children's party entertainers where you think like, wow, that person's going to go on to do something. If not necessarily a legitimate acting role, then they are at least going to progress further at being Spider-Man.
The costume was so bad. It was so funny because all the other costumes look so good, and then you get like this $5 party store costume.
It's beneath like Times Square mascot.
It really is, but it worked. It worked.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well,
But also
your
like
turn.
Chris Allen is also Two-Face. He's also the same actor that plays Two-Face.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. That may cancel Spider-Man out. I don't know.
Okay. So, do I go for the obvious, or do I give Random a chance to gush?
Well, Random says that he has a lot of ensembles. So
Yeah, I have a lot of people to choose from. So if you want to go with what you think is the obvious choice, go for it. Because I already gushed enough about him. So
Okay, I'm gonna go with Lauren Lopez as Commissioner Gordon. No, I'm not.
oh, okay.
No, I'm not.
too late.
I am okay. You know what? I'm gonna give you a chance. Because I'm gonna go. No. I was gonna say Jim Pavolo as Mr. Freeze. It just wasn't quite. And Jim Pavolo also plays
Many ensemble members.
one of the mobsters with the tennis racket.
Matches.
Yeah. By the way, fun fact: I found out that Jim Pavolo is non-binary. Let's go.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes.
that. That's dope.
But
yeah.
Nice.
maybe you got anything nice to say about Brian Holden, I guess?
I like Brian Holden more as Lupin than I do as Superman.
I like him more as Junior.
No, definitely.
And a little bit.
Definitely me too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I can't quite give him that. So,
So you're going with Jim or someone else?
No, I'm just gonna have to go with the obvious. I'm gonna go with Sweet Tooth.
Okay.
Jeff Blim as Sweet Tooth, his debut, and a fabulous debut at that. Very, very wow. Just very cool. Just extra. It's very extra. In terms of especially in terms of costume design, in terms of how much practice they had to do to figure out the candy system. How many like candies they had to pull out during while he's on stage, and then think about like having to go off stage, reload up on the new candies, and then getting all that. So much work on that, and
I understand that the suit probably has multiple pockets, but even then, at the same time, you can only put like two. You can only put like two similar bars into the same place before you like fucking just sort of root around trying to find out which is which.
Absolutely.
God, this must have been some fucking trial and error, boy.
Oh my god. Either that or he had like a whole system in place that if anyone touched it, he would have probably killed them with a lollipop.
It's a little sad that I'm talking more about the costume work than the actual actor. But the actor like did a fine job.
All right.
Just chewing the scenery as he should as the replacement Joker.
All right. That makes sense, and I understand. I'm gonna go with someone we actually didn't talk about. Because she kind of gets overlooked in StarKid universe, and this is a kind of a big role for her, or at least bigger than a lot of roles she's had. Julia Albane, who played Vicky Val, the reporter.
Oh, that's right.
I'm gonna give it to her because she actually does do a good job playing as the reporter. She's just does a.
It's a purely expository role.
It is,
at the same time,
she's still doing a good job. 1 and 2. This is. I don't want to say it's one of her biggest roles, but it might be.
Boy.
So but at the same time, but she also directs one show later, so I will say that. At least I think she does. Anyway, but I still think she did a decent job. She plays the reporter role well. She has some fun with it. It is expository, but I'll give credit where credit's due. She does a good job with it. I just wanted to give her a shout out, especially because we didn't really talk about her.
And if you're watching this, you heard that I memed, and you're like, I hate memes, then Jim Pavolo.
I will give I'll give a shout out to the one of the stars of the of Starship, Dylan Saunders. Didn't really had very little to work with, and I'm glad that they figured out like, oh wow, he's got some pipes. Because they brought him in a lot to just go like, yeah, in the smoothest, butteriest voice. It's just a shame that all they did was have him like conjure rolling rocks like the angry video game nerd.
Oh, I can't be the only one. We can't. Like everybody had to think of the AVGN.
Yeah,
it is such a fucking shame that like Holy Musical Batman, the song, is like Dylan fucking belting his heart out, and then that shit ass chorus always.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I kept hearing. Is that it's like he's
cutting
singing
out
so well.
his legs from under him every single time.
Yeah, it's honestly like he's singing his heart out, and then the chorus is just limping. Like
I will say, if you want to hear Dylan sing his heart out, a couple more musicals.
Ooh,
I won't say which one, but it's coming soon.
Oh, a tease. That's a good place to end on.
But it won't be next time, but next time will be a Very Potter senior year.
I thought we were done. We could never escape from the Potter.
One of these days, we can finally stop talking about Harry Potter.
We will after the next episode.
I don't want to go back.
Well, you're going back to Hogwarts whether you like it or not. And on that note, this concludes this episode of StarKid Spotlight. I'm Random Bystander here.
I'm the Watch, and if you like what you listen to, you can check out our YouTube channel, WRK in Progress. And also, you can listen to our audio, a podcast in audio form at wrk.simplecast.com, or you can also look us up in the whatever podcast apps you may have.
Oh yes, and
I'm the Wash.
Oh wait, hold on. We'll edit the intro, but I'll add. Thank you for adding that plug. I appreciate it, and also thank you, Rancid, for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
I'm CountRancid, and if you want to know more about reading, check out your local library for more information. They've got a list of titles they can offer you.
And this still isn't the red line of StarKid. Goodbye, everyone.
This is
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Fuck.